Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So there's been a little bit of news today and stuff that I kind of wanted to cover regarding the Odyssey. Now, just for the record, I have not seen the Odyssey yet. I am not planning to see the Odyssey personally. It's just out of all of the things that I've seen about this movie, and to be quite frank with you, I haven't ever read the book. I think I read it back in like high school once, but then I was like thinking of like I was mixing up all of the stuff with the Odyssey with like Clash of the Titans and a bunch of other Greek mythology that I'm like I didn't even remember. So then I had to go back and like kind of research. I was like, oh, okay, Odysseus, and then the whole like Cyclops and the whole 20-year journey and stuff like that. It's not a story that I primarily remember and being like super fond with. But, again, I love Christopher Nolan's films. I didn't see Oppenheimer because it just wasn't my cup of tea. I did see Dunkirk, which was, it was okay. Not my favorite, personally. But there's been a lot of news recently regarding the Odyssey, and I'm sure everybody has seen it with the whole casting and, Christopher Nolan bending the knee to wokeness and stuff like that, which to me is just completely baffling because I really thought Christopher Nolan, I mean, if you look at all of his films, he primarily always cast like white people and no one ever really batted an eye. Yeah, he had the occasional time where he, I think, casted a black person for Tenant, but traditionally, if you look at all his films, it's very white in cast. I never had a problem with that, even as a Hispanic guy myself, right? I never was like, why is Christopher Nolan not diverse? I never really cared about that. To me, it was always about saying a great story. And Christopher Nolan was always really good about that. So let's get into some of the things that have been going on. Um, so right here, there's been this amazing thing that was posted by John Carter. And John Carter basically was asking Elon that if he can give $100 million to Mel Gibson to make an actual, like, let's look at the tweet here, to make an actual Odyssey adaptation with painstakingly historically accurate ships, armor, weapons, and casting, all with dialogue taken straight from the original poem and delivered in the Homeric Greek. And Elon said, "I'm down," as you can see here. And you know, I think, look, Mel Gibson. I mean, he's literally coming out with the Resurrection of the Christ. And, Resurrection of the Christ and Passion of the Christ, it was literally Jim Caviezel playing Jesus. Okay. Jim Caviezel, he's not a Jew, I don't think. But no one really cared because he gave such an amazing performance. And everybody else that was casted in that movie, I think, besides why am I blanking on her name? But the person who played Mary, which she came out in The Matrix as the Merovingian's girlfriend or wife or whatever she was. But yeah, she's always such a beauty, man. Oh my God. I No one really cared. You know what I mean? Again, because back in 2005, when the movie came out, there wasn't this like woke movement of like needing all of this stuff. But now, because we've been kind of indoctrinated in everything being into this, like, oh, it's definitely okay that anytime there's like a white character, whether it's from a comic, we can replace them with a black person. Think of, oh my God, Perry White in Superman, right? Like Lawrence Fishburne ended up playing, that role. And then it went to the guy from Suits, that's now playing in Superman 2025, or Samuel L. Jackson when it comes to Nick Fury, and for me, like it doesn't really matter too much. But then again, it's because of this messaging with it, right? And that's the thing I think a lot of Americans, and especially myself, I'm just so sick and tired of, is this subliminal messaging that, white people need to be almost eradicated and it needs to be filled with every other race because every other race is better. And to me, as a non-white person, like, it's just dumb. And it's the most racist thing in the freaking world at this point. Like, if we're truly going to evolve as a species, like, I don't think it should matter like what race plays what. But the problem why it matters so much now is because of the woke messaging that goes with it. And I think that to me is just what just boils my blood at this point. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I just want good stories, man. I want good, I want the stuff that I saw in the comic book page just to come alive. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, if we were to take like anything that a black role, right? Like a traditional black role, like, you know, people always do, what is it, from Black Panther, and they put Ryan Gosling as Black Panther. Sure, let him do it. Let him be the only white person in that role, and then we can just have blacks, and then he can refer to himself as an African. And let's see how that plays out. Let's see how that actually feels on the other side, right? And to me, you know, when I was seeing all this stuff about the Odyssey and seeing like, hey, we're Greeks, and it's like, but you're Indian, you're black, you're, you know, it's just, it's getting to the point of like, I can't submerge myself, and I can't, you know, just like how if Ryan Gosling were to say, I'm black, I'm a Wakandan and I'm African American, like I can't put myself and believe that, right? I just can't do it. And so, basically from all of this stuff that's been going on, you know, I saw a post, and this right here is what really, really got me. You know, Colman Domingo, it said he rips Elon's plan because Elon basically made a tweet saying that he believes by the end of 2026 that AI and Grok Imagine will actually be so good that you'll be able to make a full length movie of the Odyssey and historical casting and armor and everything. And again, by the trajectory and how rapid AI has been advancing, I believe him. I do. Like I truly believe by December, you're probably going to be able to make a full-length movie and it's going to look amazing, because look at what AI is doing right now. Like of this second, you can go and look at Dance 2.0, you can go and look at other, you know, text to video or image to video software, and it's amazing. Now, granted, there is still some idiosyncrasies, some facial stuff, some movement, even some sound isn't quite there yet, but it will. It absolutely will. And I just think, you know, the thing that, you know, Colman Domingo was saying is that it'll be wider than a Christmas at Cracker Barrel, which is to me is like the most racist thing a person could say. It's like Greeks now, and even back then, were primarily white European. That's not, you can look it up yourself. You know what I mean? Like if we're trying to do something historical, right? Like we're going to try to make it to where like, let's get all of that so we can dive you into this world. And the reasoning why you have people that are completely, you know, tired of this is because there's only some people that don't bow to the knee. And Mel Gibson is definitely one of them. You know, Mel Gibson, you think of Braveheart, and then people have also been referencing this Apocalypto. He literally used like non-actors, okay? These are not Hollywood extras or people from LA at all. These were literal people from this region that he casted in Apocalypto. And, you know, you look at the cast here, I mean, it's because he wanted you as the audience to be submerged in this particular culture and in this particular atmosphere, and for you to get the most realism of this story as possible. And people trust him in that. And I think especially after looking at Passion of the Christ, looking at Braveheart, I would 100% be on board with the Mel Gibson adaptation of the Odyssey, because I think the one thing that Christopher Nolan can never do is supernatural, is the mythic. Christopher Nolan is a man that loves realism. He loves to base things in realism. And there's just some stories that aren't meant to be grounded in a realistic way. And the Odyssey is definitely one of them. There's literal gods. There's a lot of like grandiose imagery and sensation and mythicism. And Christopher Nolan, I'm sorry, I just think that's completely outside of his wheelhouse. I think when it comes to what he's good at, I think it was kind of doomed from the start. And again, I applaud him for trying, but clearly this wasn't a trying effort. I think this was more of him, you know, wanting to Oscar chase, which to me is also very like, it just makes me upset because he's already won Oscars. Christopher Nolan has won Oscars, but yet he bowed to the knee and wanted to appease Hollywood. And that's why you see this film, The Odyssey, being as divisive as it is, because He bowed to the knee of Hollywood, and they were very grateful that now Chris Nolan is one of us. And it makes me so, because Chris Nolan was one of my favorite filmmakers, and now I just completely lost all respect for the man. Like this is the man that gave me the Dark Knight series, which is why, as a Batman fan, I couldn't, when I was watching the Dark Knight for the first time in the theaters, and Heath Ledger, who was someone that I didn't think would be able to pull off the Joker. I don't think no one did really. Um, and just the level of performance he was able to pull out of him. And then now, it's just so astounding to me, like where we've gone. And, from what I've seen from the Odyssey and from the reviews that heard from people, is that the performances were just very meh, like just kind of whatever, like very mid performances, nothing over the line, nothing crazy. I think the only person I kept hearing over and over that was actually like trying to give like a really good performance was Robert Pattinson. And I think everybody else was, again, this cast just wasn't it. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't believe Tom Holland is supposed to be a 16-year-old. He's literally over 30 at this point. I can't believe, they used Zendaya as sort of a prop god, and she wasn't even really a god. And it's up to your interpretation. It's like, no, the story and what was written was literally like there were gods among them, right? There was jealousy among the gods. There was this favoritism among the gods, and I think the only two people that, in my opinion, that can do something that could really pull off a mythical version of the Odyssey would be someone like Zack Snyder or Mel Gibson. And I think Mel Gibson, honestly, I mean, if he's down to do it, again, I think right now he's still in post-production of The Resurrection of Christ. And then I think there's also going to be a second film after that. Because it's going to be a 2-part movie. I think if he's done with that and he wants to do this, like, bro, like, by all means, like, do it. I don't know. I didn't really want to make a video on the Odyssey because I just really don't have anything good to say. But I think after everything that we've been seeing from people, and, I really hate how we're clapping at Elliot Page, looking like, a 13-year-old, girl in armor. And it just looks totally unbelievable that, Elliot's supposed to play this like fantastic warrior. And I kept on hearing people say that he was just a proxy for Achilles. And it's just like, I believe it. I do. It wouldn't have surprised me either if they actually used Achilles and then changed it, because I'm pretty sure the controversy was going to be too much. And because Elliot wasn't really in the film too much, like if they ever set the name Sinan and they're like, oh, okay, like, or set the name Achilles and they're like, okay, we're gonna have to probably just redub that to Sinan or whatever, so we don't step on any toes or whatever. But I honestly believe that he was probably was cast as Achilles, 100%. I mean, if they were going to cast a black woman for, Helena Troy, it doesn't surprise me. Hollywood at this point in age does not surprise me when it comes to their decisions regarding the message. They are going to keep pushing it and keep pushing it, because if it's going to make them money, they will honestly keep pushing it. And to me, even as someone who really, admired Nolan and loved his style of filmmaking, I'm not going to support this film. I just am not. I'd rather see it when it comes to streaming. I'd rather see it when it's like free for me, but I'm not going to go out of my way to spend some money to even see it in IMAX. I mean, this is not a film that I want to spend almost 3 hours and be bored out of my mind. It's just something that I think this movie is literally going to be forgotten in a couple of years, and it's never going to be referenced again. Like, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to have any kind of a cultural hold, or some, oh yeah, like there's these great movies. Like, people have been mentioning the movie Troy. I think Troy is probably going to be more remembered than Nolan's Odyssey at this point, like given it a few years. It's just going to be that kind of movie. I don't know, guys. What do you guys think about this? What did you guys think of Colman Domingo's response? What do you think of where AI is heading when it comes to AI filmmaking? What do you guys think of Mel Gibson potentially making his version of the Odyssey? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.